Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at KASPA. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so before we jump into the lower time frame stuff, what we're going to talk about is our higher time frame idea here, where we are looking for the potential that this fifth wave could still be in play here, and we could still be looking for this 095422 to this 058090 as a potential target area for this. Now this would actually be implying that this move is starting to extend out here. And what we'd be looking for is this fifth wave to come into play. Now, it is also possible that we can count this fifth wave into this point and that it was just didn't have enough power to actually reach this higher target area, in which case what we could still be looking for here is actually that this blue wave 3 has completed and we could still see a deeper retracement. Target zone would be between this 034651, which we've already come into over here, but I would be looking for a more substantial push to the downside, and that would be looking for somewhere between that zone and this 011146 as a potential target to the downside. So we need to be careful here. There is potential that this fifth wave is still actually ongoing here, and what I'm looking for is the primary way that I'm looking at this structure is saying that this move is actually 1 2 1 2 3 4, and we're looking for this fifth wave to the upside. Now it is also possible here that we could argue that this move has completed, where we've had 1 2 3 4 and 5, and actually the extension was in this fifth wave, in which case what we'd be saying then is, like I said, we could be potentially looking for a deeper corrective structure still to form before looking for that continuation to the upside in the next wave 4. So we're going to be talking about the primary way I'm looking at this. If we start to get a bigger corrective structure here, this would align more with this idea where this move actually completes into this high. So we need to just keep an eye on this and the subwave counting to just see whether it's giving us any hints. Now within this idea, we've been talking about this for a while. Basically from this high over here, we're saying that we need to watch this previous structure, and we had a perfect reaction off this zone. Now what we're looking for here is the most common target area for this wave 5 would be here at this 066168 to this 055873. Now we can see here that we are encroaching towards the top end of this move. If we do break this wave 3 high, we need to be a little bit careful that we could still look at this move just having a small break and then having this continuation down. Now the idea here is that if we are actually looking at this blue wave 5 completing, we'd then be looking for the yellow wave 4 to actually play out. Now depending on where we complete, this would change this target area, as you can see here. So if we complete in the blue box area here, 0422 to this 0287 is going to be our typical target zone. If we just saw a small break of this wave 3 here, this would push that down slightly. The idea here, though, I would still be looking for would be a potential interaction with this fourth wave again. So if we do see this move starting to turn around in bigger 3-wave structure, going to be keeping an eye on this low one more time here in case we do have this additional yellow fifth wave. If we do hold this yellow support box, we can look for that possibility of seeing a rally to the upside. Now we're going to come into the internals of this now and discuss what we think is going on. So if we do have this as a fourth wave here into the 50% level, what we would then be looking for would be the potential that this move is actually looking to break to the upside in an impulse. Now there's a couple of ways of looking at this. We could argue that internally here we have this 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, and we could be looking for this white wave 4. Now within this idea, what we'd be saying is that for as long as we hold this 0467 to this 0413, we could potentially be looking for this move to continue. Now the problem is, if we look at the time relationship of this as a wave 2, if this is a wave 4, what we would be saying is we'd want to actually see this playing out to the upside directly from where we currently are here. And effectively within this idea here, what we'd be looking for is a target for this white fifth wave. If I just throw this onto this low here, would be around the zone here of this 0546 to this 0520. So this would be how we'd be looking at this move. If we're going to say this is 1 2 and we've had this extension within the third wave, potentially our target area is going to be here within this green box area. And then from there, it's going to be important what happens if we do get this as a 5-wave move to the upside. If we start to break down again and we lose this low, this would confirm that this is a fifth wave. If, however, we get a 3-wave move down and we actually hold this low, we could potentially still see continuation to the upside. So it's going to be very important to see how we react internally here. as to which one of these counts is going to validate. Now, it is also possible that we could argue that within the structure, what we could have is that this is 1, 2, and we have another 1, 2 here. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that internally here, we have this move as a diagonal 1, 2. This is a third wave. We're looking for a fourth and a fifth wave to the upside. Now, the difference between these two moves is that this one would have some secondary fourths and fifths to the upside here. So we can see here that if we do complete this blue count over here, where we have this fifth wave to the upside, what we'd then be looking out for is the potential to have this additional yellow fourth wave, and then a continuation in the yellow fifth wave, which would then tie in with having an additional fourth wave in the white count, and then that continuation and that push to the upside. So there is possibility of extension here, but we need to just be careful because there is a bearish count, which we're going to go over in a second. But effectively, as long as we continue to hold this low, we could be looking for some of these higher target areas. Once again, this blue count here is looking for this 0560 to this 0536 region. So going to be looking out for this potential that if we do see this continuation to the upside here, we could be looking for this idea to play out here where we have this blue fifth wave still in play. But really, until we take the low of this, which is sitting at this 044591, I'm going to be looking out for the potential of extension within this move. So those are the two ways that we're looking at the structure. Now, if we are looking at this idea of actually having an extension, this is what I'm looking for here. So I'm treating this as a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially we are close to completion here of this fifth wave. Now, the common zone that we look for as a fifth wave would be this 50032 to this 49391. Now, if we do see this move complete into this zone, what I will be looking out for is the potential to see price actually come back down here in a wave 2. Now, if we do see this actually develop off of this higher level here, which would be this 5 cent level, which would also align with coming back into these highs, what I'd then be looking for is 3 waves to the downside and then this continuation to the upside, where this whole move could actually just form a bigger wave 1. We get 3 waves down in a wave 2, and as long as we actually hold this level here of this 044572, we can look for the possibility of this rally up here in this third wave. Now, the target area that we'd want to see based off of coming back down into this 618 would actually be here at this 55221. But if we do see some extension within this wave, it could actually adjust these targets. The key thing here is that what we would be looking for is once this move completes to the upside, we'd be looking for a potential retracement between this 50% and this 786. If we continue to hold this level, effectively, then we could be looking for the secondary move to the upside here in this wave 3. But we're going to have to just be a little bit patient here. Internally, this move is looking like it could potentially be done, but there is always a potential here that, we can get extension within the waves. So we need to just wait for that confirmation. If we see a break of this fourth wave, which is sitting at this 47690, what I'll be looking for is the potential to move down into this target box area and then seeing that continuation from that point. If, however, we start to extend directly from this point, what I would then be looking for is the potential that this could then be a 1-2, but this would only be confirmed by having a much bigger move up towards this 55127 level. But we'll still be keeping an eye on this just in case we do seem to have some extensions within these waves. And what that would then mean is that this becomes 1-2, this becomes 1-2, and then we're looking for this as a bigger third, fourth, and a fifth at a later point. Now, this would actually look to potentially push us up directly into that target area. So we're going to have to just watch the zone here and see how it react. Like I said, this is the area that we typically look for as a fifth wave, 56069 to this 53656. So if we do continue to hold this low, I'm going to be looking out for whether we get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then move up into this zone. Or alternatively, we just see a direct push up into this zone. Going to be looking for this target area. And then from there, it's going to be very important what happens next. 3 waves to the downside. Holding this wave 4 could actually align with that continuation to the upside. If we start to lose this wave 4 area, though, we need to just be very careful that this move isn't actually completed into this high. And what we could then be looking for is, like we discussed earlier, the potential that from further back here, what we are looking for is that continuation to the downside in this yellow wave 4. So we need to just be careful, because if this wave 3 does complete lower down here and we don't get up into this typical zone, what we could then be looking for is, this yellow wave 4 to play out to the downside here. Now we're going to go over the more bearish idea here, where what we're saying is that instead of this move being a fourth wave and a fifth wave to the upside, what we could have is that this move is completed into this high and we're looking for a bigger corrective move to the downside. So within that idea, what we were talking about previously is the fact that this move could just be a W, an X, and we're looking for a Y wave to the downside. Now within this idea, what we'd then be saying is that instead of counting this as 1 2 1 2, and we're actually not going to get those additional fourths and fifths come into play here, we could just count this as a 3-wave move up for an A, this is a B, and then we're looking for this as a C wave. Now within this count, it is possible that this is 1 2 3 4 and 5, and we still have one more push to the upside. The most common target area here for a C wave, based off of this being an A wave, would be between this 1 and this 1 2 3 6, which would be this 50358 to this 53621. So if we do see a move up into this zone, I'm going to be watching this, particularly this higher level of this 1236 could be quite interesting, as it would be moving back above this high. But we also need to just watch this high at this 51910 as a potential reaction zone, and then potentially looking for a rejection. So if we fail to hold the previous fourth waves here, what this would then mean is that it would start to give us confirmation of this idea of a Y wave. Within this idea, what we'd then be saying is that effectively here, this Y wave is going to play out to the downside in bigger 3-wave pattern. 1 to 1 would actually be here at our 31334. Now this would be based off of our current high. If we did have to move up higher here, this could align then with this 33199. If we do, however, break the origin of this A wave over here, or this W wave, we need to be open to the interpretation that this could become a bigger flat correction, in which case we could see price actually push down beyond these levels and look to take these lows. So need to just be watching out for this potential that, if we do see price pushing down in such a way here, this could align with seeing this additional push to the downside in this Y wave. Moving down here and having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is we've actually printed a lower line here, but we've reacted to the upside, and we have currently moved back above our central line here at this 464 to this 457 region. We've also moved up here. We've had an interaction with our R1 and our R2 line in this area. So if we do see price looking to come back, we can potentially look to find support at this 47586. However, if we do lose this, I will be looking at this lower area as a potential support range, where we could see a bit of a bigger retracement here if we are looking at that more bullish case of looking to push to the upside. If, however, we do continue up here, other targets for today would be 5120, and we have this 532 as a potential upside target for today. If, however, we see price looking to reject from here and we start to break to the downside, what we could then see is interaction with this 439, 424, 402, and this 388 as a potential downside target for today. Now moving over here and having a look at the weekly pivots, because we have new weekly pivots actually printed here. So first off, we've printed higher weekly central pivots here. So this is an initial bullish sign here. We have had an interaction with these and we started to bounce to the upside. Now these are quite tightly spread, which is indicating volatility. Now if we do see price looking to continue up here, targets for this week is this 511, 568, and this level here of this 631 as potential upside targets for this week. If, however, we see price looking to either move into this R1 line, then face a rejection, we could potentially look to come back down and retest these levels. If we lose this zone, targets for this week would become 392, we have 329, and this level here of this 0272 region. So we need to just be careful of this. As long as we remain above these, we can potentially look for that idea of seeing something like this rally for a bigger 5-wave pattern, which would actually look to potentially move us up into some of these higher CPR lines. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that over the period of this week. Now on the monthly, what we can see is that we actually did come back up here. We found support on this R1 line, we lost it, and now we're back above it. Once again, the idea here would be the same. If we do continue to hold this R1 line, I will be looking out for the potential to see a rally up towards this 589 and this 662. If, however, we start to lose this R1 line, potential support can still be found here at this 420, we have 0390 and this 363 as potential support zones below us, just based off of these CPR lines. Now, if we do look to continue to hold these, like I said, we can look to potentially target out these higher areas. If, however, we start to lose these central lines, downside targets for this month would then become 226, 194, and then all the way down here we have this one sitting towards us, 006822. So if we do continue to hold these central lines, this could be seen as a potentially bullish sign, and we could see this continuation up. However, if we start to lose these, we could actually come back down here and look to retest some of these lower levels. If we start to lose this S1 line, the probability starts to become that we're going to be getting a much deeper retracement here, because typically speaking, when we're in a trending move, we don't really want to see price losing this S1 line, which is sitting at this 26,501. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this over the period of this month and see how we interact with these different levels. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.